All right. In the first 5 chapters of Acts, we have seen where the disciples and the other believers are living together in Jerusalem, and they're all sharing. And if there's need, then people are giving up what they have to help other people. And it's all like seeming to be really like this incredible example of what it is to live together as community. And then in Acts chapter 6, we start to see a little bit of things starting to crack and things starting to go wrong. And that's specifically because there are these 2 different kinds of Jews. And one of them says that their widows are being neglected, that one type of Jew is being served better than this other type of Jew. And I think that's fascinating and interesting because I think we like to think that if we set out with good intentions and we follow the Holy Spirit and we're doing a good thing, then we'll just move right along, just swimmingly, everything will go well. And that's what they started out doing. And we see story after story, it keeps reminding us how well it's going. And then suddenly it's not going well. Suddenly people aren't being provided for and they're being neglected. And the apostles are quick to realize that this kind of disorder and disruption could quickly lead to them not having time to go and minister to the people the way they want to, that it could stop them from sharing the gospel the way they intend to. But they know that they can't let things continue in disorder. But they also know that if they're the ones that step in and fix the disorder, then nothing that they're being called to do is going to keep happening. And so instead, they've realized we have to have some people overseeing the waiting on tables, because we have to make sure that everyone's being served equally. Someone has to be in charge. So they started out with sort of this it's just all great. We're all giving to each other. No one's really in charge. We're all helping each other. But then there comes this moment where they realize, wait, someone needs to oversee this because it's starting to go poorly. And that's okay to start out in one area following the Holy Spirit and it's just going beautifully. And then to recognize, wait, there's some problems here. We need to back up and sort of readdress how we're doing this. And I think what's beautiful is that when they're looking for someone to serve the tables, they specifically say, okay, well, we need to find some people to serve the table. Choose 7 men from among you who are known to be full of the Spirit and wisdom. And so even to minister to the tables, these people have to be full of the Spirit. They have to be full of wisdom. This is not a lesser job, right? This is the job that's enabling the continuation of the preaching of the word. And it says that one of the men they chose was Stephen, a man full of the Spirit and full of the Holy Spirit and full of faith. And then later, it's talking about Stephen. It says a man full of God's grace and power, and he did great works and miraculous signs among the people. And I'm not sure that this is the same Stephen, but I think we have reason to believe that it is the same Stephen because the 2 stories are right next to each other here. And then that's amazing too, because here's Stephen, they chose him to serve tables, but also when he's not serving tables, he just happens to be doing great wonders, miraculous signs among the people, and that he's ministering to people and doing amazing things. And he's so good at the ministry he's doing that the people get upset and they want to find a reason to arrest him, but they have no reason because he hasn't done anything wrong. So they start lying about him. And it says, as they're all lying about him, it says, all who were sitting in the Sanhedrin looked intently at Stephen, and they saw that his face was like the face of an angel. Now, I don't know what that means specifically, if it just means he looked peaceful, but I sort of imagine that it means when Moses said, I want to see your glory, Lord, and God hid Moses in the cleft of a rock and told him he could see the backside of the Lord as it passed. And then after that, Moses' face shone so brightly it had to be covered with a veil because it was too bright for the people. Or that it might be when Jesus took 2 of the disciples up and they encountered Elijah and the Holy Spirit, and I don't even remember, it was in Matthew when we just read it, but their faces glowed after that. So I'm assuming that maybe Stephen's face, as he's being accused of all of these things that aren't true, is perhaps glowing with the glory of God. And that's just an incredible idea to me. I remember in my youth reading about Moses and how his face glowed and thinking, God, I want to be so full of the presence of God and so full of your glory that my face would glow. But then I read this and I think, oh, well, if it means like having to be lied about, maybe not, right? But that's the thing, is that Stephen, even while he's being lied about and falsely accused, is just so full of God's presence that it's like he's not even aware of it. And that's incredible, because when we are lied about and when something happens that's not just to us, I think that oftentimes that's when we get angry and we get frustrated and we look for a way to right the situation. But Stephen is so focused on the Holy Spirit that it says his face is like the face of an angel. So we know that something supernatural is happening here. And of course, to see what is happening, we'll have to read chapter 7, which you can do now in preparation for tomorrow. And in the meantime, anything that struck you in Acts chapter 6, let's talk about it in the comments. Be bold and share with us. Be courageous like the disciples were courageous. Really share your thoughts and ideas, even if you're not sure about them. I think that there's a lot of joy in us unpacking things together and asking each other questions and trying to understand as a group. All right. Thank you very much.